Look, I wouldn't have picked Vice President Trump to be vice president, but I think she was not qualified to be president. So let's start there.
A few moments later.
In the race, I'm going to do every single thing I can to defeat Donald Trump, because as a black woman living in this country that has less constitutional rights than I had from the day that I was born 42 years ago, I refuse to live under Donald Trump's reign again. I refuse to risk our democracy. And Joe Biden is the person right now who is able to defeat him. And so when people are saying, do something to prove that you have the command of the knowledge, and you stand up and you call on 10 reporters and you answer 19 questions for 59 minutes, then I ask you, if you go and say step down, then what is the test that he must prove over and over again? Because then it feels like you, as a person who is calling for him to step down, is being disingenuous. Now, I'm not saying it's not wrong, because that debate was terrible, and Joe Biden has acknowledged that. But as people who are living with the fear of a possible dictator to take over this country, I just ask you, as a Democratic Party, and I'm not super excited about Joe Biden, but I am terrified of Donald Trump, to get it together for the people that you are asked to represent. There is too much at stake. And I don't understand what more people need after a night like tonight to say he is the leader of the free world. I sometimes on television say, if there go I, but for the grace of God, that I am not held to the mistakes I make sometimes on television in the days of my life. And I'm a little annoyed and I'm furious, because I talk to black people who have saved this country over and over, who helped elect Joe Biden, who saved the Democratic Party time again. And black people are saying, let it go, folks. And yet again, when you look at the people who have called for him to step down, they are not the backbone of the Democratic Party. And that, to me, is frustrating.
Boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. We have to talk about the worst case scenario for Democrats that want Joe Biden to get out of the race, happening in real time after Joe Biden's disastrous big boy press conference last night, in which he had two major gaffes. The first gaffe happened before the press conference, in which he called Vladimir Zelensky. He called the leader of Ukraine Vladimir Putin, okay? Even though that's not Putin, that is Vladimir Zelensky. Joe Biden got him mixed up, and that essentially tanked the press conference that Joe Biden was supposed to go into, with this idea that he was going to relieve the Democrats of any concerns that they have about his mental capabilities to lead the country. And when the press conference started, it fell apart once again, because he ended up calling Vice President Kamala Harris Vice President Trump, right? Apparently, Joe Biden believes that Kamala Harris is actually Donald Trump. Again, the guy is lost, okay? However, after that mistake, Joe Biden's press conference wasn't too bad, okay? Even though throughout the press conference, he lost his train of thought. Okay, he kept having to say anyways when he could not complete a thought, when he could not complete a sentence. It was very obvious that he was struggling, but he was performing as best as Joe Biden could perform in that moment. Okay, this is why I said after that press conference that it was just okay, because outside those two gaffes, Joe Biden didn't do too bad. However, that is actually the worst case scenario for Democrats, because it now allows Joe Biden to say that, hey, well, I didn't have a Mitch McConnell moment, therefore I should stay in the race. But in the eyes of the general public, I'm talking about people who actually are not like Trump deranged liberals, right? People who truly are critical thinkers and can see exactly what's happening. Joe Biden did not help himself, okay? Again, he didn't have a Mitch McConnell moment, but he most certainly did not make people less concerned, okay? However, the Democrats are in a terrible situation because they can't put the genie back in the bottle, right? They've already come out and said that there are issues with Joe Biden. So Joe Biden having this press conference in which, again, because he didn't have a Mitch McConnell moment, there's not that demand that, hey, he has to drop out, right? We cannot win with Joe Biden. Even though a lot of people feel that way, it's not something that is so overwhelming that there is no choice that Joe Biden has to drop out immediately. That's not happening. So it seems as if Joe Biden has bought himself some time and that he's going to push back against the Democrat elite powers that are trying to push him out of the race, because there are videos like this of Trump deranged liberal women who are sticking behind Joe Biden. In fact, they're claiming that Joe Biden's disastrous press conference actually changed their mind not to vote for Trump, but to vote for Joe Biden, to support Joe Biden, which again, this is not good for Democrats, even though it might seem like it's good, but it's actually not good, because this can be used to convince Joe Biden to stay in a race that, as of right now, it most certainly looks like he's going to lose. However, if he continues to stay in the race, he doesn't drop out because he thinks that he can actually beat Trump, it's an increased chance of him having that Mitch McConnell moment that will guarantee that Biden will lose, and it will be way too late for Democrats to do anything about it. And that's exactly what's going to happen as long as Biden keeps this core coalition of Trump deranged liberal voters who, again, are so Trump deranged, they're like, well, I'm going to vote for Biden even if he's a vegetable. Well, again, those people are the problem. Those people are the ones that are keeping Joe Biden in the race because they're telling him that, hey, you're the only one that can beat Trump, and I'm going to vote for you anyways, right? See, it's not the liberals or the independents that aren't so Trump deranged that would consider voting for Biden if he actually was in the right mental state, but they're now saying, no, I'm actually not going to vote for Biden. I can't vote for this. Those people aren't the problem. Those are the people that want to push Joe Biden out, right? They know this. The smart money knows this. Those are the people, okay, that are seeing Joe Biden, and the Democrats know that they're not going to like what they see and that they're not going to show up and vote for Joe Biden on election day. In fact, they might vote for Trump. This is why they're pulling money from Joe Biden to try to get him out of the race as soon as possible before it's too late.
Breaking this hour, New York Times reporting donors have told the largest pro-Biden super PAC that roughly $90 million in pledges are now frozen if Biden remains at the top of the ticket. But this may only be the beginning. Reports claim a coordinated Democratic rebellion is set to unfold during a brutal 48-hour stretch for Biden. An 18th Democrat lawmaker just called for Biden's exit 90 minutes ago. Now we're learning that President Biden privately met with White House Minority Leader Jeffries after his solo press conference last night, where he made several embarrassing mistakes on the world stage.
This video right here should be a nightmare for Democrats right now.
Seniors in Kalamazoo, Michigan. Gary, what have you been hearing?
Well, I understand we are in the battleground state of Michigan, in the western part of the state. This is the Portage Senior Center, where seniors between the ages of 50 and 150 could come for exercise and fun. These ladies, we have 7 ladies here, all of them like Joe Biden. None of them are voting for Donald Trump, but we want to see how they feel about the problems that Biden has been having and how they thought his news conference just went. Now, out of all 7 of you, how many of you think it was better than you expected, this news conference? How many think it was better than you expected it would be? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. How many of you think it was worse than you expected it would be? How many of you think it was the same? So overall, it's a fairly positive review. I know we were watching it together. They all just got out of exercise class. So that's why they're dressed like that. I told you I would tell everybody that. But we were watching it together, and when he confused the names of Trump and Harris when talking about vice presidents, you all kind of gasped. But it got better, right? Is that what you do? Is that what you think? Now, 4 of you, 1, 2, 3, 4, all of you think that Biden should be staying in the race. You told me you think that he should pass the torch. The 2 of you weren't decided. My question for you, you weren't decided before this happened if he should stay in the race. How do you feel now after watching this news conference?
Relieved, and I think he should stay in.
So your opinion's changed? From not sure to he should stay in?
Yes.
Okay. And how about you? How do you feel? You weren't sure. How do you feel now?
Same. I think he's the logical choice.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now you thought he should pass the torch. How do you feel right now?
I still believe he should pass the torch.
And why do you say that?
I think he conveyed more defensiveness versus confidence, and I think we are really craving to be able to be confident about the candidate that we carry into the November election.
Now, this lady is correct, right? This lady is correct in the sense that that press conference really did not do much in the eyes of people who, again, aren't so Trump deranged that they can't see the reality of Joe Biden and what he is right now. it didn't really prove that Joe Biden is on top of his game, right? At the very least, he's not inspiring anybody to get out and vote outside of people just hating Trump. And that's just not going to be enough in 2024, in my opinion, in order to win. And also on top of that, clearly, if you consider all of the stories that have come out about how everything is scripted, even the meetings with the cabinet secretaries are scripted. He really doesn't have meetings with them, which is, again, shocking that he doesn't meet with his cabinet secretaries frequently. Again, so we really don't know who's running the country. Yeah, this guy is not running the country. So it's like, okay, Biden read off a teleprompter. He answered some questions. He didn't completely fall apart. But that still doesn't mean that he should continue to be president of the United States. Everybody can see that. He's not inspiring anybody to vote for him with his performance. Now, again, you know, there are some women that are so Trump deranged, they're like, oh, well, I just need Biden just to be at baseline, just at baseline, right? Just holding Biden to the lowest standard possible. They're like, oh, okay, he made it through without a major moment. I'll vote for him, right? I had some questions before, but, you know, he made it through, so we got to rally around this guy. Those people are a nightmare for the Democrat Party because it's those people are going to be the people that are going to convince Joe Biden to stay in, to not drop out. And the longer that he stays in, again, Joe Biden's not getting any better. He's getting worse. He's going to get worse, right? There's another, 3 or 4 months into the election? And the demand for Joe Biden to continue to speak, to continue to be out in front, he can't hide in his basement anymore like he did in 2020. Can't do that anymore. Again, this is something that is going to continue to be a thing until Joe Biden finally has that moment where people are like, what the F is going on? He must drop out now, and it's going to be too late. Right. And that is what Democrats are worried about the most. Right. That's why what happened last night with Joe Biden actually was the worst case scenario. Because Joe Biden said it himself. He was like, well, I'll drop out when I'm convinced that I can't beat Trump. But as long as I think that I can beat Trump, as long as I think that I'm doing a good job, hey, I'm going to stay in the race. Videos like this are most certainly not going to help the Democrats that want to push Joe Biden out. Again, this is bad. This is really bad.
How did you feel about this news conference just now? Did it give you more confidence in Joe Biden?
I have all the confidence that I did yesterday. So I just...
Were you confident yesterday?
Yeah, because everybody has a bad day, and I could see that he was sick, but for some reason they decided to do...
With that, I think what came across was that of what he is. Joe Biden is very caring about people. He's very knowledgeable and experienced, and he's not just out for himself, that he really cares about the country.
And there's no chance that you would be more confident with the Kamala Harris or your governor here, Whitmer, here in the state of Michigan.
Right. Yeah. I think Joe Biden did an excellent job.
During this news conference.
Mm-hmm.
But was there any part of you before this that said, I'm not so sure that I can still support him and I want another Democrat?
I've always been confident in him.
Any of you going to be watching the Republican National Convention? It starts Monday. No hands going up. Democratic National Convention 5 weeks after that? Okay. Not all these people are Democrats, some are independents, but they all like Joe Biden, and it's fair to say that none of you are going to be switching to Donald Trump. Thank you all for joining us.
Again, terrible, absolutely terrible situation for Democrats who want to switch out Joe Biden. Joe Biden is going to look at that video, right? They should hide that, right? Hide that video from Joe Biden, okay? This is what Democrats are going to do. They're going to hide the video from him. But if Joe Biden takes a look at a video like that, he's staying in. He's not dropping out. So if they try to force him to drop out, now you're talking about a situation where Joe Biden is actively resisting, like he's doing right now. And if Democrats continue to insist that he drop out because they don't want Joe Biden to have that Mitch McConnell moment that's going to tank him before it's too late, then now you're going to have a divided party, a contested convention, which makes the situation even worse, okay? Now, again, I know this is a little bit confusing. I know a lot of people are like, well, how is it a bad thing that these women now have more confidence in Joe Biden? Well, it's bad because that confidence essentially just buys Biden more time. Everybody that's actually really paying attention to Biden knows that, again, this guy, he's going to fall apart again. He's going to have that moment that's going to be like, WTF, just like he had at the debate, is going to happen because the cameras are on him now more than ever. He can't continue to put on these performances where everybody is kind of hanging on to see if he's going to make some mistake, because he is going to make the mistake and the media is going to keep highlighting it, right? They're going to keep talking about it. The genie is out of the bottle. So again, it's a terrible thing for the Democrats that want to push Joe Biden out. It's a good thing for Democrats that want Joe Biden to stay in. And it's a good thing for Republicans that want Joe Biden to stay in. Now, again, had all these women came out and said, I can't vote for this, that, you know, he doesn't have my support, they need somebody else. If a vast majority of these women said that, then that would be a situation where you say, well, Biden, you got to drop out, right? That is a situation where Democrats can now have more momentum and leverage to say, okay, Biden, you got to step down. You can't win. Look at this. But as long as Joe Biden continues to have these performances where he's clearly struggling, but he makes it through the press conference, again, without that Mitch McConnell moment, he can continue to justify staying in the race. And his team, the people that actually support him staying in, okay, will also use that. And that is going to create more division within the Democrat Party, right? That is the result of that press conference last night. It really is a worst case scenario for Democrats who want to push Joe Biden out of the race, and for Joe Biden, his supporters that want him to stay in the race. It will be used as justification for why he should stay in the race, which again, ultimately just creates more division within the party. It essentially delays the inevitable disaster that will happen to the Democrat Party that will tank any chance they have whatsoever of beating Trump. Let me know what you guys think. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Most importantly, share a Black conservative perspective. Peace.